Good morning. It is day 5 at the Information Security Summit 2021 in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland
And if you haven't
rocks.
guessed,
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks.
if you haven't guessed, this is verbal caffeine designed to wake you up. Wake you up if you're tired because you had a wonderful time last night at our exceptional networking reception. At the Information Security Summit. I need to wake up.
Information Security Hummus?
I think you were at the bourbon tasting too long, right?
Couple of reminders, if you haven't already, download the Whova app on your smartphone. You know what's really cool about the Whova app is that all of these hybrid sessions have not only been delivered hybrid to our wonderful audience out there who's virtual, but there are replays available. So, if you wanted to be in 2 places at once, attend one of the talks, and then attend another talk that was held at the exact same time, you can do it by downloading the Whova app or using the Whova website with your Information Security Summit login. You can actually replay the sessions because they've been uploaded to Whova, and they're available.
So if by accident, for like the 7th year in a row, you were scheduled directly opposite David Kennedy, people could actually see your talk?
Yes, people can actually see your talk, while everybody else was watching David Kennedy.
This year you didn't. This is the first year, but every other year.
So, you can even evaluate those sessions. Gary, am I right? You can evaluate them after the fact if you're watching the replay? So that's very, very cool. It's never been easier. So by all means, catch that Whova app and you can watch all of the shows. A reminder about CPEs, you have to, for those of you who are CISSPs, you have to submit them yourself. We're sorry. We got to blame the mothership, ISC squared.
It's not that hard.
It
takes hundreds of seconds.
You just log on to your ISC squared site and you go to CPEs and you submit them. And the summit will be making available certificates so that you have evidence of having attended. So that's available. You want to make sure that you know about that. For those of you who haven't discovered the Wi-Fi password, if you've missed all the signs out there, Summit 2021, it's available, and you can use that if you're starving for bandwidth from your phone provider.
What if I'm virtual to the summit? Robert, could I use the Wi-Fi?
If you have one
Can you give me a
Pringles
whiteboard?
can aimed at the Wyndham Hotel in
If you
Cleveland,
use
Ohio.
IPX, SPX.
Yes. Yeah.
Winning.
You're going to introduce our,
I am going to introduce the panel, but I want to give a shout out to our technical crew here today. Sean Delaney and Miles Rapkin. Sean from Lertical, Miles from Multi-Track Production. These are the unsung heroes behind the camera, and I have a great deal of appreciation for behind the camera and behind the scenes people because I was one of the behind the scenes people in radio almost 40 years ago.
I couldn't tell.
And so...
None of it rubbed off,
But I say
Robert.
too much. That's why I'm not doing that full time. Anyway, Sean and Miles, these guys have worked with a lot of challenges. We've had some bandwidth challenges. They had a few folks program switches in the building who graduated from the Department School of Switch Programming, and they had to overcome those obstacles. But we really, hats off to Sean, Miles, and the entire crew over there who's just done an absolute bang-up job for the Information Security Summit, not only in this room, not only online. I know some of you folks online have been dealing with some of those issues. These guys have worked tirelessly to correct those issues, bandwidth issues, and so forth. We really appreciate their help, so shout out to them. And now, of course, our Security Friends panel, with saving the best for last. We have, of course, Mr. Christopher Robinson, CRob, or actually today it's Darth CRob.
It's the world's worst
Darth
hacker.
CRob.
Yes, it's Darth CRob. And CRob is Director of Communications, Intel Product Assurance and Security. Next to him, Mr. Joe Daw, Cyber Security Architect at IBM.
Ooh, an architect.
And we have a special guest security friend today with us, Mr. Kevin Baker, Director of Cyber Security Strategy at Arete. So welcome to the panel of security friends.
So today, CRob will be playing the part of the world's worst hacker. and I will be his change management manager to make sure he submits change management appropriately before he hacks anything. So,
Well, speaking of hackers, the NSA warns of threat actors compromising entire 5G networks via cloud systems. The U.S. National Security Agency has published a security advisory today warning about how attackers could compromise. Hey, they use the word attackers, not hackers. I like this. These guys, get it.
Why are they
attackers
actors?
could compromise entire 5G networks by hijacking a provider's cloud resources.
Matt Damon?
The NSA advisory, published together with experts from the U.S. Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, is part one of a 4-part series the agency plans to publish on 5G security. According to the NSA, recommendations for mitigating lateral movement attempts by malicious cyber actors who could have successfully exploited a vulnerability to gain initial access into a 5G cloud system. I mean, this is scary. Hacking the system that supports these little pieces of glass we all carry in our pockets.
Invaluable pieces of glass.
Yes, that have like everything nowadays. I mean, it's just explosively grown over the last decade at what we're carrying in our pockets. These little mini computers with incredible interactive input-output panes of glass.
I only know 3 phone numbers anymore. Everything else is in the phone.
I actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I deliberately dial family members by number and do not use the call-out name just because I want to have it built into my brain.
oh wow, that's
That old school methodology of remembering phone numbers, because if you don't have your cell phone and you have to use somebody else's, how do you reach that person?
Bam.
well. That whole article is just a quick reminder that we're all right. This is a network we're riding on, right? And the bad guys know that, right? And it's ironic they're talking about east-west traffic, right? And it's all about looking at network traffic, because network traffic doesn't lie generally.
Fun fact, when you use your phone, you're using the open hybrid cloud. In a traditional telco situation, you would have I like that. Thank you. You got me. You'd have a switch and a router and an antenna out in the field. Well, these days, that's all transforming into a tiny little computer that's running a little instance of Kubernetes.
Yeah,
so you got a little cloud everywhere to get it out to the edge.
And it's just, and us old timers, and I say that affectionately because obviously I'm one of them, but us old timers are just blown away with the fact that we have gigabytes of memory and gigabytes of storage that runs on a 3.6 volt battery in the palm of our hands.
I'm going to build a space shuttle around it.
The space shuttle used a less powerful computer. My goodness. Meanwhile, Microsoft
Crash
announces
less.
plan to cut cybersecurity workforce shortage in half by 2025. Yes, they're going to
They're
do
going
that.
to fire half of their people?
No, they're going to cut the shortage
The
in
shortage in half. It's kind of a double negative.
half. Microsoft will
More
partner.
coffee, please.
Microsoft will partner with community colleges across the U.S. and provide free resources in an attempt to help end a shortage in cybersecurity workers, the company announced Thursday. The company believes it can help train and recruit 250,000 people into the cybersecurity workforce by 2025. Microsoft also believes the effort will help diversify the cybersecurity workforce. Do we have confidence in Microsoft?
Well, as long as you don't want to print, it seems to be safer now than it used to be.
Aw,
It's funny. So
my Linux print server works great.
actually, so there's a lot of vendors, not to plug, but IBM is doing something similar. I think, I wish I don't remember the numbers, but I think we've committed to investing, I don't know, 30 million or something over the next 10 years to help the next, because there's a shortage, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse and more critical. So it's good to see the vendors all across stepping up.
I definitely think unless commercial businesses step in, the shortage will not end. The educational system is not able to do it fast enough and to stay on the edge.
Now, I mean, when you say stay on the edge, you mean they're teaching stuff that was state-of-the-art 10 years ago?
Well, maybe
10 would
not
be
10
great.
years ago, but just think about the lifetime of a curriculum. Many people here in higher education know how long it takes to get approval to do things. So, they are naturally going to be behind. So I would look to higher education to teach basics and commercial groups to teach the cutting edge stuff and make that the partnership and really divide the territory up.
I don't know the specifics of how Microsoft or Google is deploying this type of thing, but I talked to our keynote speaker, Bob Kalka, yesterday about IBM's program, and they're viewing it more like a trade program, like an apprenticeship. So they've realized that a lot of entry-level jobs have some stupid high requirements. You have to have 10 years of experience and a CISSP and a master's degree for a SOC analyst.
10 years of experience in something that's only existed for 4 years.
Exactly. And, IBM's taking the approach of where it's like an apprenticeship, where they're capturing people right out of high school, teaching them a trade, valuable kind of cyber style development skills, and, trying to
Now,
grow
to
them
play the
young.
cynic, is there really a shortage, or is there simply dysfunctional processes in organizations attempting to hire security professionals?
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above.
There absolutely is a shortage, and HR processes could be much better, and they could be more realistic and more transparent.
Are HR processes barriers for people who are actually trying to bring
Yes.
security professionals
Yes.
in, meaning they can't get past HR?
Correct.
And so they have to wait for somebody to get through the HR barrier before they can hire them?
Yeah. The process that most HR departments go through is they take it to market. They have research apps that help them, look for their region, what is being paid. It's very focused on what the pay scale is. And then the descriptions, they try and match as many as they can, and matching 12 bad descriptions doesn't get you a good description.
Now, I don't want to call out anybody by name, but I know there are individuals who like
Frank.
to find professionals
Steve.
irrespective of HR. And, is that something that's very challenging, is when HR gets in the way of somebody who says, I know cybersecurity talent and I don't want to wait for HR?
I think it's incumbent on the security professionals to work with them ahead of time.
Yeah.
Don't wait until, hey, I need a new rec, find out what the costs are going to be for me. You should be proactive.
Yeah, and we need to stop copying and pasting old job descriptions, to post new. Actually read the description you're going to post and stop asking for 5 or 10 years of experience, that kind of stuff. And back to the IBM program, I think it's called P-Tech, but basically what's great about it is it's the bridge from high school into college. Or it's not even college, it's like a trade school, and it really focuses mainly on learning, technology and security and that sort of thing.
And if they're in the right school, they might even get rickrolled.
They could, possibly.
I'm never going to give you up.
I'm never going to let
Robert.
you down.
Meanwhile, they're going to need those security professionals because it's time to panic, according to the U.S. Sun. Yes. Panic stations, Microsoft warns billions of passwords have been hacked. Check yours now.
Again?
Microsoft has issued a stark warning to those who reuse their passwords across multiple online accounts. In a blog post this week, the U.S. tech titan, said it had identified an uptick in the use of password spray attacks over the past 12 months. They involve hackers gathering a list of usernames and passwords leaked online and then plugging them into various websites. Cybercriminals hope to eventually stumble across a working combination that gives them access to someone's email or social media accounts. From there, they can attempt to break into more sensitive accounts, such as your bank or iCloud or a certain petroleum distribution company, like happened earlier this year.
How many decades have we been talking about password reuse?
All of them.
All of them?
Although I'm not going to be a hypocrite, I'm guilty of doing that in the past. I've done it before. I'm just going to be honest.
So this is, the step up, hi.
Sorry, guys. Do you want me to leave it?
And you've reused passwords. This is a self-help group here.
Yeah.
Hi,
yeah.
I'm Rob. I've reused passwords.
Well, but so let's talk about the reality of that problem. We're talking about human beings. I'm a CFO. I'm an executive. I have 100 things I got to worry about. And I got this guy from security telling me, you got to use 15 different passwords. So we need to help that problem, right? Because we all are busy and stuff like that, and that's the issue, right? And from a personal perspective, I fell into that trap. I'm doing 15 different things, and I get prompted to change my password. I'm like, oh, But what's the solution for that? Multi-factor, right? So you don't have to worry about it as
Multi-factor
much.
password vault.
Privileged access management.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about even personally, right? And then the other thing is having more of an algorithm or passphrases, right? You use a pass, that's how to be honest, that's how I got out of that rut.
The super long password phrase. Even that sentence along, the super long password phrase, which is obviously not usable. 'Cause
I'm
I
going to
just
write
said it
that down.
publicly,
Oh, damn it.
is something that just based on its length of alphanumeric characters is harder to crack, but easy to remember.
Well, depending on the types of machines that are with all these GPU-based password hackers, a very long password is not as strong as it was
I
5
hate
years ago.
passwords.
Jeff Sterner.
I mean, the only thing I can figure out that really makes a password really solid is you just changed it. What is the most secure password? The one you just made that was not one you've used before. So, I mean, you could say, oh, you have to use a 26-character alphanumeric password. Oh, that'll go over great. Or you
gonna
can
need a
say you have to
whiteboard
change it every day. There's
we saying that even
every day.
security professionals, us people, unlike mere mortals, have challenges with passwords?
Everybody does. I think I have
That's my
200
point.
passwords.
Right.
Wow. So that means we're vulnerable as professionals. Well, that ties right into the next story because hackers set up fake company to get IT experts to launch ransomware attacks. The financially motivated Fin7 cybercrime gang has masqueraded yet as another fictitious cybersecurity company called Bastion Secure to
that
recruit
sounds secure.
unwilling software engineers under the guise of penetration testing in a likely lead up to a ransomware scheme. With Fin7's latest fake company, the criminal group leveraged true, publicly available information from various legitimate cybersecurity companies to create a thin veil of legitimacy around Bastion Secure. Recorded Future's Gemini Advisory Unit said in a report, Fin7 is adopting disinformation tactics so that if a potential hire or interested party were to fact-check Bastion Secure, then a cursory search on Google would return true, we say that in air quotes, true information for companies with a similar name or industry to Fin7's Bastion Secure.
That sucks.
Wait, what was the name of that company again? I got it. I'll be right back. I got
Thin veil of legitimacy.
Right, exactly.
I wish April's here because I need a little optimism.
I need
I need a little glass half full.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have to be on guard as security professionals. I mean, none of us are impenetrable, invulnerable, invincible. We all have to be on guard. It really is true.
And
When they started hacking the security companies in the past couple of years, I remember saying to the CEO of the company, what makes you think we're not under attack? And he went,
Right, no comment, right?
You don't know what you don't know because you don't know it yet.
Well, like,
boy, that's deep.
yeah, like LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn requests, air quotes,
the
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn malware network.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's just so funny. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's just like getting LinkedIn. Nothing wrong with LinkedIn and connecting with people, but you just get these ones from just people you have, and they're obviously not a LinkedIn request, right? And
You mean I'm not the only one who has a list of 23 people I've never acknowledged for a request?
You can ignore them.
Yeah, well, I may,
Well,
but I wait like a month just to see if they pop up again with an actual message.
Back when I did youth cybersecurity education, I would ask all the kids in the audience, this is how dated it is, how many Facebook friends do you have, guys? And they all looked at me, and you would get answers of, young children, 12 years old. Oh, I've got 50 friends. I've got 300 friends. I have 3,000 friends. And you would ask them, how do you really know that have you ever met these people? And in that analogy, unfortunately, it definitely translates to adulthood with things like LinkedIn, where it's very difficult to verify these folks. And even if Robert Nettgen approached me, maybe I didn't realize that there's a 3 in his last name instead of an E.
Right.
And I might accept that because I know Robert, it's got his picture, but how do I really know that this connection, this trying to infiltrate my network or to get
Somebody
my
could have copied
contacts
my
or my
picture.
information? Yeah, exactly. Well, who wouldn't? You have a handsome face. You are a handsome man.
So are you, buddy Grove.
Do you guys want some? No, no. Need some time? Or?
I think so.
Well, just to give us some reassurance that nobody is perfect, hackers have been using a rootkit that somehow got Microsoft's digital seal of approval. Oops.
Wow, we're pretty anti-Redmond today.
Wow, we're hammering them pretty hard.
A recent report by cybersecurity firm Bitdefender shows that e-criminals have been using a particular rootkit dubbed 5sys that bafflingly, I can't say that word, baffingly,
That's baffling.
received a digital signature from Microsoft. The malicious program apparently allowed attackers virtually unlimited privileges on affected systems and was used by hackers to target online gamers for credential theft and in-game purchase hijacking. Researchers say it's definitely possible that 5sys could be redirected towards other kinds of data theft too.
Sounds like a supply chain attack
Yeah.
where a signing authority was compromised and some for malicious purposes. And in this case is gaming, which is sad, but not the end of the world yet. But that's
Probably
very
just a
similar
proving
to a lot
ground,
of attacks you see.
as Rob intimated there by the article, just a proving ground, research and development for some other attack.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe they're testing out the waters, testing out the technique.
So, I mean, even Microsoft makes mistakes. And Microsoft, I mean, we kid about them, but they
We
do
kid
get
because
some love, right?
Microsoft
They-
makes mistakes.
Well, if you watch, a lot of people that monitor the interweb, right?
It's a series of tubes, Joe.
Yeah, it's all IPX. So the managed service providers, like IBM, a lot of them are all watching and monitoring, and they'll see spikes of traffic with basically the bad guys are basically trying things out. You'll start to see spikes, and that's the stuff to worry about. Like before some of the biggest ransomware campaigns come out, those kind of things are starting to happen. And even the bad guys do it wrong, right? So you see them like, something, they were trying to make something malicious and they did it wrong, right? So they had to stop and refactor and do it over again, right?
I'd like to see that bug track system.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounding like the story from another movie, cash-starved North Korea eyed in brazen bank hack.
Oh, man.
Yes. Think Ocean's 11, only the robbers are cash-starved.
George Clooney's dreaming.
Thirsty North Koreans, and their weapons are keyboards, not explosives and guns. In the latest efforts to fund Kim Jong-un's nuclear ambitions, hackers suspected of working for the North Korean government appear to have slithered their way into the computer networks of an Indonesian bank in an apparent attempt to pull off a mega heist to fund regime goals, according to the Daily Beast. And this republished on, thedailybeast.com. It was around February of 2020 when the hackers suspected of working for North Korea's military intelligence agency, the Reconnaissance General Bureau, are believed to have targeted the networks of Bank Rakyat, I can't say that, Indonesia. Cybersecurity researchers that have studied the malware culprit told the Daily Beast. So this is interesting. I mean, this is hacking literally going after what sounds like an electronic funds transfer. Literally a country trying to do a bank heist electronically.
I think that only recently have we really had serious conversations about the geopolitical effect in cybersecurity. How much of what we're seeing is probably cyber warfare. I don't have to defend myself with guns against another government. That's my government takes care of that, but I have to defend myself from a government in cyberspace. And where's my government? Where's my army? We've been on the defensive our entire careers.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Well, the big risk that actually what I worry about, and I think our government worries about, is the blended threat concept, right? Where, another nation state basically like takes out part of or some of our power grid, and then goes after the financial institution, and then there's a more physical attack happening or something like that, And then there's a lot of distractions. They'll do something over here to distract us while they're actually quietly doing something over here, right? And those things are actually happening now, right? And that's actually very scary if you think about it. Especially the article we had, I think it was yesterday, about how our power grid,
Yes.
and the industrial SCADA systems, that sort of stuff, They're working on it, right? We all know that, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Well, in good news, a hacker group is upset that the U.S. attacked its servers. Yeah.
Stop picking on us.
As I try to scroll to the actual text of this story, is there any?
Guacamole.
We should ask
Where's the text of this story? Are you
Well,
kidding me?
let's ask the world's worst hacker.
Oh my goodness, there's no text to this story. I
How
have
do you
nothing to
feel
read.
about the U.S. government going after your stuff?
That gave me a sad.
Meanwhile, Russian hackers, maybe that's a poetic comment. There's no text to that story.
Yeah, that's right.
The article got hacked.
Text has been removed.
That's sad. Russian hackers reportedly hid behind America's home networks to mask their cyber espionage. Russian military hackers have been waging an ongoing hacking campaign. There's the hacker. I see the hands on the keyboard. That's how they artistically represent
Doesn't show the
hackers.
hoodie.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
they need
Larry.
to show the hoodie. They definitely need to show the hoodie. Russian hackers waging an ongoing hacking campaign against high-level American targets have used a special technique to mask their activities, a tool to hide behind addresses associated with everyday American homes and mobile network devices. In case you missed it, the SolarWinds hackers are back, according to a recent report from Microsoft researchers that show that certain cyber spies, believed to be members of Russia's foreign intelligence service, have been targeting droves of American tech firms with a new hacking campaign. Now, come on, let's get to the point here. I assume they're talking about hitting these little blue boxes called routers in people's homes.
And we also have been talking about that for about a decade. If we think back to the dawn of Security Friends, every month Chris Bush would have some commentary around IoT devices and home routers.
Followed
It's a
by
premium
everybody
target.
saying in unison, what could
Possibly go wrong.
That's the worst that could happen.
But this has been, with the commoditization of home networking and the fact that you have a lot of different players in that space that have varying degrees of security practices and patching practices behind them. A lot of folks would love to get the $20 Wi-Fi router. It's a great bargain on Black Friday. And unfortunately, there's no infrastructure behind that to patch it, and you get these vulnerabilities.
Can
very
we buy
quickly.
home routers from Harbor Freight yet?
And the average person can't reflash these things with DDWRT.
No,
I mean, that's out of the range of the average mortal.
For
with
most folks,
home
it's a
device.
plug-and-play thing.
Yes.
You plug it in, and it works.
And they're
The
running
little
with the
blinky
default
thing.
password, usually.
But that has bled over into small business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
look how easy it was.
Describe your internet
which is so
connection to
true.
me. Well, there's a box here with some flashing lights on it. Some guy put that in there. We connect it to the router, and now we're running our business off.
In my day job, where part of it includes some security assessment work, just shameless self-plug, I'm Robert Nettgen from Bright Skies. I'm a senior consultant. Okay, but I actually reviewed a business that contacted us to do a security review. They were concerned about their server, a server that I specialize in, and they said, do we have some problems with this? And I said, well, yeah, but that's not what you need to worry about. You need to worry about that cheap Netgear router that you're using in these business offices that, let me show you the article where it's been vulnerable for the last 4 years. Yes, a business is using a home router to protect. I mean, if I were to
see it
say
all
the
the
name,
time.
which I never will, you would recognize this organization. I mean, it's scary.
And the level of business that they want to do over that connection is unbelievable. So I'm asking people, well, is there one box there, or is there more than one box? Well, there's two boxes, but they're about the same size. And I'm trying to communicate this over the phone, Well, does one of them have a lot of blinky lights? Yeah, okay. And that's, these are obviously home level routers well, they call them
Soho.
Soho, right?
Small.
Yes.
And
Well-
have you logged into it? Oh, you can log into that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called a default configuration.
And last but not least, sticky business. Ransomware hits U.S. candy maker ahead of Halloween.
Oh, that's a sticky
Ferrero.
situation.
Heck
Maker of
with
Sweet
the
Tarts,
internet, the
Nerds,
chocolate is down.
Red Hots, Lemon Heads, Pixie Sticks, and everlasting Gobstoppers
Where's Willy Wonka when you need him, right?
has finally been able to resume production only in some facilities. Yes, some gummy worm candy moves along the production line, according to this little picture here. A major U.S. candy company is struggling to fill orders before Halloween after ransomware hackers encrypted its systems for our other Chicago-based manufacturer of companies like Sweet Tarts, Laffy Taffy, Nerds, Red Hots, and so on.
That's it. We're going to hack back.
Has only been able to resume production in select manufacturing facilities, according to a spokesperson in a statement that was emailed to the press. Ransomware, a pernicious form of cybercrime. Yes, we know what that is. Ferrara first noticed that hackers were encrypting its computers and demanding payment on October 9th, and has hired outside experts to help restore its systems, according to the statement. It disclosed the attack on Tuesday of that week.
So we're going to hack back, right? I am not going to stand by and let someone take our candy from us.
Yeah,
This is not going to
that's
happen.
like not fair. Attacking candy corn right before
How
Halloween.
can we do a gummy bear attack if we don't have gummy bears?
We should gum up their keyboards with gummy bears. Yes. If we had sound effects, that would be followed by womp, 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 or something like that.
Every day we've done this show, we've had a story like this where there's some well-meaning company that falls victim to this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm confident their cybersecurity budget was not very large. And hopefully as a community, we can find ways to provide awareness and help
Indeed.
folks like that.
Indeed. I would like to thank our Security Friends panel for this Friday edition of Security Friends. And we're going to be getting started with our keynote in a couple of minutes. I'd like to introduce Gary Sheehan,
who's he?
coming up. And I'll bring you the microphone. Oh, you got a microphone. Even better.
I found one. They've been hiding this from me for like the last 4 days, so I didn't get up. That's right. So, again, what I'd like to say is quickly do some thank yous real quick for those folks online and that are here, just to kind of give you an idea of what it's taking to do these kind of things. So first, thank you to all of our volunteers. We had a bunch of volunteers.
Wrong
We had a bunch-
microphone. That microphone. Turn off this one.
We're getting there. So we had a bunch of volunteers that really helped put this together. We had the folks that worked the registration table. We had some folks behind the scenes that did the virtual tracks to make sure that they were being broadcasted and recorded. We had folks that worked with the sponsors to ensure that they could help us fund this thing. We had somebody that helped us with speakers. So I'll do all those thank yous later, but there was a lot of volunteers here that helped us with this. I'd like to thank the sponsors, obviously, for all the support that they gave us. Thank you all for attending, and mostly thank you for your patience. For me, this has really been a dual sort of conference, because there was kind of one thing going on in the background and then one thing going on from the conference perspective. So hopefully, from a conference perspective, you guys may not have seen all that stuff going on in the background. So hopefully everything is working for you and it's doing well. But if you have, I do apologize for some of the road bumps that we've had, but hopefully it came off pretty strong. I would please remind you to do a couple things. One is to continue, if you are doing this, to fill out your speaker evaluations. Those are very important to us, especially going into next year. And secondly then is we're going to be releasing a conference evaluation around 9 o'clock this morning. So please take the opportunity to fill that out. And we're already asking for speakers for next year in that evaluation. So if you indicate in that evaluation that you'd like to speak next year, you'll probably get some sort of communication right after the first of the year, because it's going to be very important for us to get our agenda set early next year. Final keynote and prize drawing this afternoon, so please stick around. We're going to have lunch right in the front here, and then we're going right into the afternoon keynote and the closing. And if everyone is good and they cooperate, maybe we can get out a few minutes early and enjoy this lovely Cleveland weather. That is why I came up from North Carolina this week, to really experience some of the finest weather that Cleveland has to offer. If you don't get a chance, or you can't get to Hoover for some reason to give us an evaluation, please take an opportunity to drop me an email, because I'd love to hear your comments and concerns and maybe some ideas for next year. Currently, our 20th anniversary event for next year, we are planning to do it, with your help again, October 24th to 28th. So when you go back to your office, put that on your calendar, mark that you're going to be out of the office for that week already so that nobody can take those days from you, and plan to attend, because I think hopefully it's going to be a great event next year. It'll be in Cleveland. That's about all I can say right now. And it will be the best ever that we've ever done. So we've learned a lot from today, and we're going to make next year, with your help, with our sponsors' help, and our volunteers' help, even better. So at that point, I'm going to turn this back over to Rob, and he's going to continue with his emceeing duties for this morning. Thank you.